Well, welcome back. This week marks the kickoff of tax season with the IRS accepting tax returns starting Monday. If you're one of the 162 million Americans expected to file this year, there are common mistakes to look out for, as well as some new changes that could save you some money this year. Well, joining us live in studio is Professor Jonathan Brignall from Grand Valley State University's School of Accounting, here to talk about some of those things to keep in mind when filing this year. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about, where people can go for help when they're getting ready to file their taxes. I know it can be overwhelming for a lot of people.
Well, depending on your personal situation, for low-income taxpayers, the United Way, partnering with the Internal Revenue Service, has a program called VITA, which specializes in tax issues for low-income taxpayers, and they have sites around the community. And if you need help, you can contact them and get an appointment by dialing 211, which will connect you to the United Way.
Okay, nice and easy to do just that.
Sure.
And then what are some common mistakes, as people are filing their taxes? It can be a little overwhelming, confusing at some point. So what are you seeing that's generally made?
The most common mistakes I think that we see are people just not taking the time to look over the return before they file it. Most returns are filed electronically nowadays, so you want to make sure that before you push that button that you've taken a second look at it and kind of given it a smell test to make sure that everything looks okay. A couple other things that I would mention are if you're going to paper file the return, you can still do that, but you want to make sure you sign it. If you don't sign the return, it's not considered valid. And then finally, you want to keep all the documentation that goes into the return. Make sure you didn't miss any of the forms that you received from your employer or from banks and so forth. If you miss something, the matching program that the IRS has will kick out a notice, and you'll have problems with it later on.
And now this year, there have been some new provisions that could provide people some more money in their accounts when it comes to things like EVs as well as solar panels. Will you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. For electric vehicles, there are provisions now. You can get a tax credit, which is a dollar-for-dollar reduction of your taxes of up to $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. There are some limits on that as to the cost of the vehicle and also the income of the taxpayer taking the credit. So the IRS website would have all those details. Also, there is a credit for used electric vehicle purchases, which can provide up to a $4,000 credit for those.
Okay.
And then for home use, there's a credit for installing clean energy improvements like solar panels that'll cover up to 30% of the cost of those. Also, there are credits for energy efficient doors and windows that provide up to a $600 credit for installing those items.
All right, lots of benefits for people who are interested in using that renewable energy or getting you more into that. We appreciate all the info.
Yeah, absolutely, and the government really wants to incentivize those things, so they're willing to provide those benefits.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of people I'm sure that appreciate that. And here are some of those important dates for tax filing this year. We'll also have more info about what to keep in mind when doing your taxes this year up on our website at fox17online.com. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thanks again for having me.